All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, this is a rescheduled AMA from this last week that was all messed up with the market, and a lot of people were just kind of steering clear of anything to do with Ethereum, anything to do with NFTs. But we've got the bad influence guys here back today. I had a nice little chat with them a couple weeks ago. They've got a really cool, innovative, interesting roadmap and things that they've got going on. Very well thought out plan. And I just want to welcome you guys to the Gajira Lair today. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever you have to say, because of this global, family that we have here that literally lives all over the world. But thanks, guys, for coming out here. And you can go ahead and intro yourselves if you like.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having us.
thanks so much for having us. For real. And yeah, I like to go first because I'm the least impressive. I'm the Bad Influence community manager. I've been working with these guys for about 6 months now. I kind of found my way into the space like running stock discords, right? Like I ran a couple big discords just to analyze just different kinds of investments, and that's how I found my way to crypto stuff and NFTs. And I knew how to run discords, right? So I got a mod role and then eventually community manager roles. And I just got to say, like, if you've worked on a few different teams in the space, it becomes obvious, that a lot of them are four guys like spread across the world in their garages, just kind of throwing something together and hoping it works, right? Once they have millions of dollars. And my impression of these guys the first time I met them was the absolute opposite. These are the founders everyone hopes they have, right? Funded, have founded things in the past and can actually bring everything they're talking about to reality. So it's been amazing working alongside them the past few months. That's my story.
Thanks, Al, yeah, maybe I'll jump in now. I'm Otherly, as you see the orange rectangle up there. My name is Brian. I guess a really quick background on myself. About Probably just start with the most recent thing I did, which is about 12 years ago. I founded a tech company in New York called Integral. We Over the first few years, I ended up kind of, as the founder, hiring people much better suited to do all of the things I was doing, like a real head of finance, a real head of sales, all that good stuff. And about 7.5 years ago, I moved out to London to essentially found the company all throughout Europe, Asia, and Latin America. And about 3+ years ago, we took the company public. And as is the case for a lot of founders, you wear 700 hats in your first decade, and you're not needed as much in the end when you start scaling. And so I took a step back and exited the company after going public, and spent the better part of the past few years building what I'd call kind of like unique entertainment IPs. And that's how I met the other founders who you'll soon about to meet, David and Christian. And they had very similar situation and issues with me, which is they had also built successful entertainment IPs that had a lot of interest in the market from big players, but they also ran into this issue with creative control. And so when we got together, we were like, all right, this model needs disruption. But obviously, taking on a giant industry like Hollywood and entertainment is not necessarily an easy task. It's like then right around this time, it was the emergence of Bored Ape and the Web3 movement, and then we just kind of like we had our big aha moment where like this is it. Web3 lit the spark. Like this is the way we can radically change the way both creators and fans are rewarded going forward. And then we kind of had our second aha moment where we're like, well, why would we stop at entertainment? Like Web3 offers the promise of growing a brand with tentacles across lots of different industries. And so, with that, Bad Influence was born, and that's what we're going to walk you guys through today. And we're just really excited to be here. So thanks for having us.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. I love how the community manager kind of said that. It was like I'm the least like important or like exciting role, but like when you really think about it, the community is one of the most important things to do with an NFT project. Without a good, solid community, then how does
Yep.
your project survive? Quite frankly, you know.
Yep, and
Oh,
that's
100%.
spot on, and that's something that they have done such a tremendous job, despite, I'm not gonna create news for anybody here, but the market's been a little tumultuous the past. Like, the thing engagement levels are still great, and the people are still excited, and we're just thrilled still. So yeah, kudos to your point to Al and team for sure.
Yeah, Owl tends to. I'm just seeing here in a voice chat saying that Otherly is too modest, but I think the same applies for Owl actually.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, I love my work. I shouldn't act like I didn't mean in any way to undersell it, right? It's just these guys have founded some crazy things and have decades on me in terms of their careers. I'm just excited to be on a team with them, honestly.
Yeah, so you're basically saying we're quite old, which is true.
Just like ignore all the compliments. Defense about.
I can go next if
yeah, absolutely.
So we wouldn't meet. I know you met with Christian and Brian on the call, but I'm David. So I'm Hawko on the screen, and I kind of, I suppose, way back when I started in advertising, and yeah, kind of, I suppose, really loved brands and how kind of you could be creative with them. They have a big impact on culture. And yeah, worked with some good ones. Like Adidas was the one that I kind of worked on for years and years. But I guess the bit I didn't like so much or became a bit disillusioned about was just the fact that the kind of, you can have this awesome brand that everybody loves, but then behind the scenes, that the company and the kind of like the things that the business cares about can be quite different. And you have this big disconnect between the two, and you've got the shareholders, and then you've got the product people and the kind of the marketing team and all the rest of it. And there's kind of just this big distance between the business and the people on the outside. So I guess what I find exciting about Web3 is that it kind of crushes all of those things down. So like whether it's kind of like the artist or people putting money in, or people that are just fans of the project, it feels like you're all sort of in it together. Yeah, it's just different from my kind of like past experience. But I kind of sort of set up a company, grew it to about 50 people, specifically to try and get the companies behind big brands to try and take a bit more responsibility, go out to bat for communities, for people, for society, for the environment, and I guess just try and make them better. And so yeah, I worked with some good companies there, like Virgin, and we've done a lot of work with Spotify, a bit with TikTok. But yeah, just like it was a good company, enjoyed it, but it wasn't kind of everything I wanted to do creatively. So took a step back, and started working with Brian and Christian, all with the same idea of building new kinds of entertainment properties and what we call IPs. But yeah, found that was horrible. The industry is more messed up than any of the other ones I've ever worked in. So Web3 offered this big opportunity to do it differently, and that's what we set about doing.
Cool. I'll go next. So David's actually covered a lot of stuff already. So I'm Christian, or Solex, as you see on the screen. Solex was actually the name of my dad's dog, but I really like it, so I took it. So I started in advertising as well. I worked for Lego, and basically I was one of the lucky few that got like this really exciting brief. Sorry, I worked on the agency side with Lego as a client. This really exciting brief, which was, so basically Lego, have a lot of different product ranges, but it came a time that they were really, really struggling, and they entered a partnership with Lucasfilms to do Lego Star Wars at the time, and it became their cash cow, but to the point that they became entirely dependent on Lucasfilms. And there was this huge concern that if Lucasfilms was ever to pull the plug and say, Lego, you can't do, Star Wars sets anymore, that the whole business would just collapse on itself. So I got this really exciting brief at the time, which was help us launch and develop our first in-house IP, or Story World, and worked with them. And, it was a team working together on this, and we came out with this concept called Ninjago, which ended up becoming their biggest kind of homegrown IP, and it led them eventually to change the way that they thought about everything, and did the Lego Movie subsequently, and all of these other things as a result as well. And it was incredibly, incredibly exciting work. From that point on, I was always wheeled out in the agency to help when we were pitching for big new businesses to come up with like the creative and innovation strategy for those, and it went really well. We brought in loads of new clients, some of the biggest clients at the time. So from General Motors to Microsoft, and here in the US to Macy's. So big accounts, and they would always buy into the ideas right at the time of the pitch. But then when it came time to execute, every single time, it became this long-running joke that none of the ideas actually ever happened, because every single time they would say it's a bit too risky for us. We don't really want to do it. We're not quite there yet. And it was always the case. And it just led to this immense feeling of frustration. And as Brian said, this happens in the world of entertainment. It happens in every single creative business out there, that you've got this small group of gatekeepers that no matter what they say, they're actually just about being as risk averse as possible, because nobody wants to actually take a stab at something new, right? And that felt like a really, really big problem. And it really pissed us off, because it just seemed like, originality should be really thriving right now, right? More people than ever have the opportunity to contribute into like this kind of creative ecosystem. But at the same time, what you're seeing coming out from creative businesses is just more sequels, more franchises, and like more stale ideas. And the reason why is because it's all so concentrated into this small group. And that's what we just all felt very strongly that we had to turn that on its head.
Alum.
Yeah, awesome. And there's some great intros for sure. And I just like you kind of touched on some really good points there. If you guys want to kind of pretend that people haven't read anything, haven't been to your website, haven't done all this research that like you and myself have done about the project. Just give us kind of like a like an elevator pitch type of thing. Like what are you guys doing? Like why are you guys different than other projects? Because like it's tough. If you were to launch several months ago, you didn't have all these derivatives and all these people copying and doing the same old thing, so it's a little bit easier. But now you have a little bit more of a hurdle to get over. You need much more uniqueness. Like you cannot just be doing the same old shit that everybody else is doing and all that stuff. So like, just go ahead and just like get everyone out there. Just like give us a little bit of a rundown, a bit of an elevator pitch.
Cool, yeah. And Al, you've got some images at hand, right, that we can share.
Oh yeah.
Cool. So
just choose your words according to what you'd like me, and I'll kind of like just follow up with what you're talking about.
You'll find a way.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I think we've already hit at this, but just like the overall vision, we say that we're a brand for misfits, for renegades, for people out there that are trying to do things differently, right? And that's ultimately what we want to become a symbol of. So when you have a bad influence PFP, it is a symbol that you do things differently, and you just won't accept things the way they are just because that's the way that everybody tells you that is the way that they are. So that is the overall brand that we're building, and what we want to stand for is wild originality. And Zero Cool, you're right. Like there's so much out there, and if we can't say that we stand for wild originality and do things exactly the same as everybody else, because we'd be dead in the water if we did that, and we wouldn't be living the promise of what we're trying to build to begin with. So there's a couple of things that you'll keep hearing from us. One of them is build first, talk later. So we were in this really privileged position, I suppose, where we got some VC support at the very beginning, which basically allowed us to flip the script a little bit. So instead of waiting until mint and getting all of the funds there and then starting to build, actually doing it the other way around and building as much as possible before we actually go to mint. So that, we're not talking about a distant roadmap, but we're talking about what we like to call a mint map, which is these are the things that we've already invested in. They're already in production. We feel very confident that we will be able to deliver this in a very short time frame after mint. So that is one of the core things. Before I go on to explain what those things actually are, I think I need to just give a
I
shout
pulled
out.
the trigger too soon.
No worries. But to Jor. So Jor Ross is the artist that's been working with us. We had an eye on him for quite a while already because he's just a fantastic artist, and he's worked with brands like Adidas, with Nike, with Super Plastic. If any of you guys are on Super Plastic, so they do that like the janky
Yep.
figures. You should check out the Jor Ross janky ones because they're unbelievably cool.
They did some stuff with like Gucci too, and stuff like that, right? The Super Plastic.
Yeah, that's right. They've done a lot of like brand collabs, but they've always kept like janky as their core character, and
Mm-hmm.
they're almost like they almost took like an aesthetic of what you see right now in the space, of NFTs, but did that in a world before NFTs with physical products. Um, so Jor Russ has collaborated with them, done some amazing work. I think that like you look at his stuff and there's something incredibly iconic and clean about it as well. And he mixes all of these, he's got a really interesting background. He's from he was born in Mexico. His parents are Spanish. He spent some time in the US as well. So he mixes like Americana with East Asian influences, with just like very contemporary, almost like street vibes as well, and has something which is genuinely unique. So we've been working with him. He's also just an amazing human being, and I think it's important to say that as well. So there are three elements of what we call our mint map. The first one, we call it the heart, and that's basically the PFPs, right? We wanted to have, really bring the world of Jor Ross into it. We didn't want to create something that's derivative. We've got the most insane way of creating 2D PFPs, which I'll get into in a little bit. But basically, we first create 3D models, then we render them, cell shade them, and you get what looks like the 2D PFP. But the reason why that matters and why that's important is that there's a level of detail that you just wouldn't get in your traditional 2D PFP. So, for example, every single shadow that you see in these PFPs is created dynamically based on what the character is wearing. That's not something that you would traditionally get. So that the one that Al just shared with the halo, you can see the shadow of the glasses going underneath, right, the eyes. So there's all of these details, and it was something that we and Jor were really excited about. Like, how can we create something that doesn't just look cool as your PFP, but as the holder, you open it up and you can find all of these little details, and you keep exploring it. So that's
Can I ask
the
a question really quick? I like to ask this. So, how many traits are you looking at right now? Because sometimes when you get these really cool, detailed projects like this, and you have a large amount of traits, you kind of fall into this really, really, really cool way of creating each NFT is like feels almost like an original. Because some of the projects out there, when these 3D art projects were coming out, and they had 10,000 collections, I'm not even kidding. Like, and I thought this was complete bullshit, but they would release some, and they would have like, for instance, Crypto Bull Society. I don't care about dropping names. The project's dead. But they basically had some time where they're like, hey, if you have a bull that looks just like another one, like let us know and we'll change it. Like that should never be like an issue. That should never be a thing in the NFT, and especially when you're like generating the art like that. That just seems completely
Real.
absurd to me.
Yeah.
Couldn't
yeah.
agree more. Couldn't agree more. Because
I,
the whole point, right, is to use the power of this technology to just expand beyond what would have been possible. If they all look the same, you're failing fundamentally, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Right.
yeah.
And that's the thing, and I feel like so many people are missing out on it. And honestly, like I was saying, how you guys have this longer road to get through there, but you guys like have a better road because you've seen a lot of the bullshit and you've seen a lot of the good stuff, and you guys are kind of like spinning and turning things to be kind of what you guys want to do, and you're gonna make sure that like that. I can't say this, but I sure hope that you guys are gonna make sure that you don't follow in the same footsteps of some of these other projects that are like the slow rugs that are just like coming out with these like just awful these awful roadmaps that are completely inconceivable. They just don't care. The art is just completely whack. So like like I said, harder road, but is going to breed more unique and proper things, which I feel like I deeply and truly passionately feel that this is going to be very good for this space, because it's going to weed out this bear market that we're going through right now. Is going to weed out not only the bad actors, but the shitty projects. You know, because there's
Yeah.
bad actors and then there's shitty projects, and shitty projects in a way are the same thing as bad actors, and they're the same thing as a slow rug. You know, shitty projects that are not doing things properly, they're taking too much money for the team, they're not folding enough money back into there. But I really do think that, like, we might shed some of the fat, I guess you could say, you know, the dead weight.
Yeah.
We're going to shed some of the dead weight, and then it's this when we're going to push through this bear market, and we're going to actually have quality over quantity, because in the last
Yeah.
several months of this 2022, we're getting a lot of quantity, and that's not
Yep.
necessarily a good thing, you know, because the more projects out there, so like the number of projects, I'm sorry to go off on a tangent, but this is something that's
Yeah.
really important, and we're going through, and I want these AMAs to be more than just hey, tell us about the project. We talk about what's going on in the market and how you're going to come into this market right now. And that's like one of the biggest things, is that, you know, that we're shedding this dead weight, you know, these derivatives, and all these projects that are minting, their floor goes up to 0.5, just throwing out an example number, going up to 0.5, it reveals, crashes to 0.03. How is that healthy? How is that sustainable? Like, those projects are in, not in my eyes, but on most of the eyes of the NFTs, you know, collectors out there and holders, is that's a dead project, whether or not that's
Yeah.
a good project, but it's just not sustainable, and it's not it's not healthy, you know? So I like really looking forward to some of these projects that of you guys that are really trying to build and trying to do something really cool and unique. And I'll hop off of my soapbox here, but I feel like it's just like something that I needed to come out and say. And we've got a decent amount of people here, so I want this to be like, you know, interesting all the way around, because I've had some good conversations with you guys. You know, you know, we had a long VC beforehand, chatted a lot about it, and I really appreciated that you guys took the time to, you know, want to line that up. Some projects are like, here's your whitelist spots, give me an AMA. You guys were like, hey, come talk to us on VC. Like, I want to show you guys what we're doing. We're doing cool stuff here, so I appreciate that. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Slash
Well,
and
well-
tangent.
Yeah.
That was a good fucking tangent, man. I like that tangent. No
Yeah.
complaints about it.
No, we first of all, we really appreciate that, and I think you're, you know, I think you're absolutely right. Like the thing, these markets are so incredibly painful, and it's not to dismiss. You know, I'm sure a lot of people, even in this room, have gone through a lot of a lot of pain as well with this market, of course. But you know, in term, we couldn't be more bullish about the medium and long term. And the fact of the matter is, as you said, that these moments do, you know, you start to weed out. Basically, if you're in this for a quick cash grab, right, it's not as attractive when the market isn't great, right? So a lot of those people just start dropping off because it doesn't work that well anymore. But I also think that there's something a little bit unhealthy about the space, which is, as we know, everything is always go, 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 right? And there's always this tremendous pressure, which is to deliver everything as quickly as possible. And I think that what it creates is this like mindset of short-termism, right? Where you're just thinking of what's right ahead of you, and you're just trying to put what's right ahead of you out in the market as quickly as possible, versus at times taking a step back and being, is what we're putting out there actually good, right? And are we actually delivering something that is of value to the whole space, and that we're moving this forward in a positive way? And I you know, it's a constant tension that we're fighting, because we want to like build all of these things up and make sure that what we're putting out there is, in the end of the day, something that's great, right? And that our community will love. And you know, trying to fight against those forces that are in all of us of like, just put something out there as quickly as possible as well. So I think that these markets also make you take a step back and really consider those positions a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Well put.
keep going, baby. Keep going. I like it. Keep it rolling.
So you know, I think that's a good segue to talk a little bit more about what we've built.
I love
right?
segues. You know, I'm a fish head. I love segues.
Hell yeah.
You guys know this. We chatted.
So yeah, I mean, we have built a lot of shit. Why don't we start talking about the body a little bit? There was also
Hell
a
yeah.
question in the chat, Solex, about just like people want to hear you geek out about the details a little bit. How do you get these PFPs made? It's a rare opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. Before I just go into that, one last thing I say about the PFPs, like the and you can see a couple of examples that Al has shared here. We wanted to bring some of that unique like world of Jor into this. So there's a special attribute class, which are just hand painted 2D assets that are layered over the PFPs. So you see that lotus with the smoke coming out. That's an example of it. Al, do you have one of the ones with the crow, or actually the mask that you see over there, the tiger mask? Jasper, sorry,
You can
Jor.
call me Jasper. That's my name. Yeah, I'm Jasper, by the way. Hi, everyone.
Jor, but Jor is
Every single AMA, Christian ends up doxing it.
He does it every other AMA.
but Jor is an expert at creating masks. He's actually been approached by some big name artists, Skrillex, or I think the Chainsmokers as well, to create masks for them. So there's a bunch. I think there's like, let me just count for a second. There's around 50 unique masks that Jor has created in his collection, which we're really, really excited about. So in terms of the body and going back into that art process, every single, and we're going to, it's the kind of thing that we're going to do a video of, because I think it's almost hard to believe when I say it. But the moment that we code a character or start running the script for a character, you have a PFP that's generated, and at the exact same time, there's a 3D avatar that's created as well, right? So the reason why this has been such an excruciating but fun journey is because we have been thinking about every single detail of these characters, not just the top third. What does the bottom half of their outfits look like, and working with Jor in terms of designing those. And in the GIF that Al posted, you can see some of the details there. It's pretty quick moving, but the old guy there that we call Bernard is wearing Crocs, for example. But we've literally been designing the bottom halves and coding those into every single character, and these are generated simultaneously. So, and they're already rigged as well. So that's how it works. And then you've got cell shaders that are applied to these 3D avatars to create that 2D look, which is something a bit more reminiscent of what you see in like Arcane. You guys have seen it on Netflix. So that's the process that you go through. And again, when I say taking a really long time, is because we had to, you had to build all of those avatars first in order to create the system. And so the bodies are there, and it's something that we want to give to all of the holders. So you not only get the PFP, but the full 3D avatar as well. We're aiming to deliver those within 4 weeks from the moment you get the PFP. And of course, when you get an avatar, what you get is a file, right? It's not an image. So we want to create a little 3D video as well that showcases your avatar from head to toe. And again, it's that moment of like discovery that you're finding all of these things about your character as well. They are fully rigged, and for us, that's about thinking about the future. Like we want them to be able to be in a number of virtual worlds that are being created or will be created in the future as well. So it's about having all of that in place in order to go there. But the reality, and Al just shared, so you can see on the left-hand side, that's the cell-shaded PFP, and on the right-hand side is the avatar. But the final point is that, a penultimate point, actually. Every single item that you see, every single item of clothing is created as an individual item. So in the example that Al shared over there, that cardigan is an item. The T-shirt is an item. You can switch out that cardigan and keep the T-shirt, right? Again, that's about future-proofing for us, giving us the ability to, customize and personalize these avatars in the long run. I'm not going to say that we've we've
All the traits, are they all on chain? Kind of like how Cyber Brokers is. You know about that project?
yeah, I know about the project that. And David, do you want to jump in here?
Yeah, so the and no is the answer.
Okay.
And so I think like as we so the when we talk about the heart being the heart of your kind of bad influence identity, it's that's the NFT. And so we sort of looked into having like, okay, like let's make the avatar an NFT as well. And then it was a bit tricky to kind of join them together in a way that they could never be sold separately and stuff like that. So we decided that it made more sense to have the avatar be something that like you've basically got a secure storage where you use your wallet to entry that's basically proof of ownership, and then you can access the avatar from there. I think in the future, like as Christian was saying, like everything's built separately, and so as the sort of the ecosystem grows, I think it's definitely something that we should be thinking about in terms of how do we add to this and kind of like add to your collection and kind of bring in clothes and accessories that feel like they have their own unique value, and so yeah, it's definitely something we're thinking about. But in this collection, it's the complete avatar is something that is a companion to the NFT, which is the PFP.
Hell yeah. Cool. Good answer. Yeah. And I didn't want to say it like it was anything wrong with it not being like that, but it's definitely something that's really interesting that I feel like a lot of people don't quite know about what's like going on with some of this stuff where you can have like all your stuff on chain and whatnot. So yeah, I just wanted to ask about that. It's very cool, but go ahead, continue on. I'm really
I was
enjoying
planning
this.
on floating to that to them actually soon, but now I'm glad you broached the topic already.
Yeah, it's I believe that Cyber Brokers is like one of the most undervalued and underappreciated, and it's the main thing is that people just don't know what the hell the project's all about. Like they don't understand the whole on chain and like the way all that stuff works, and it's like very innovative. But they came out, months and months ago, and they're one of the
Yeah.
very few projects that does that. I'm not saying that you guys like have to do that, but it's just like part of like a healthy conversation to like talk about that, and like to learn to see if there's even possible to do that, those kind of things, which is like I find to be really interesting and very, very healthy for the NFT space. And that's kind of my thing is that I'm really trying to push for a lot of these AMAs. I can't do all the AMAs that are asked of me. Like I can't like every single one that wants one. I can't do it. But what I can do is push for the AMAs that are doing some really cool, interesting things because I think that's healthy for the space. And my biggest thing right now is not about it's about making Gojira great, of course, but making Gojira great needs to also make the NFT space great as well. And so when projects are successful and they do really well, I need you to have that project be not just, oh, cool, we're successful, we're making a lot of money. That's not the right mindset. The right mindset is to make the space better because right now we're going through a downturn in the market, and I know we've referenced this a lot, and I don't want to like get hung up on it, but these kind of projects that are good for the space and healthy for the space, those are the ones that are going to survive. The ones that have builders behind it, the ones that keep
Yeah.
on doing this. Like some people kind of get like dig a hole in the ground and hide while it's a bear market. Others crawl out of their hole and they're like, okay, here we go, spread my wings and let me fly, and like let's keep on building and doing really cool stuff. And that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for, like teams that are going to do that kind of impact on the space.
Yeah. And like you said, it's about, how is it that you can also develop things that the whole space can benefit from as well, right? Because I think that as long as, there's this intense kind of tribalism in the space, and it's almost like, sometimes it feels like you almost want you see people wanting other communities not to succeed. And, we just and I think you share our point of view on this. Like we want anybody who's building towards this space to succeed because it's in the best interest of all of us. Like we all believe in what we are doing. We believe that what we are building here is the future, not only of the web, but of entertainment and all of these businesses. So it's in our interest right now, especially in, everybody keeps saying we're super early. If we're super early, we need everybody to kind of be working together and building together for that future as well. So I think that's critically important.
Great segue into the future.
Yeah.
Just gonna say.
Well, we're all gonna make it. Wag me is always said, but like I think a better term that we should be coining as an NFT space is we're all in this together. You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
because like
Hell yeah.
this whole thing that's like, hey, like, oh, this project's doing really well, let me compare myself to this project, and if our floor price is lower, then we're not doing that doesn't make any sense, man. Like, you can have a floor price of point 0.1 as long as you're over mint, and you're still building and doing cool stuff and your community is loving it. Guess what, you're a successful project. I don't care what anyone says, but this whole like uneducated mindset of, oh, your floor price is low, up, see you later, don't even care what your name, what you're building, or your team or anything, you're not good. Like, that's gotta go, man. Like, it's gotta be we're all in this together, and it can't be just we're all gonna make it, because guess what, if we're all in this together and we all work together, guess what happens? We all gonna make it.
Straight up. But I
Well
think
said.
also, the idea of like that you shouldn't have to grind to make it is
Yeah.
something that kind of found its way into this space too, right? Like, ultimately, the Web3 we all imagine is years of building away, like the full iteration of it, right? And that's going to be fucking grinding with people who actually believe in it, making it happen, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's like one of those things where it's like there's 50,000 grocery stores. They're all gonna make it. They're doing grocery. Like, we're all NFT product. We can all make it. Like, it's just makes sense. I mean, once again, on my podium, preaching my thing. But this is kind of like, I want these AMAs to be more than just, hey, come tell me about your project. Let's talk. I want to hear that you guys are like in tune and you guys understand like what's going on in the market. And that's kind of more important than just you telling me about your project, because I could tell you guys
For
are
real.
passionate about it. I could tell you guys have a good team. I could tell you guys have some synergy, because you guys are up here laughing together and like working together, and hey, you can take this question, hey, like, there's not one person just speaking on it, and you guys, like, you know your shit, and that's like good stuff. So yeah, let's continue on with this the bridge.
Yeah, yeah.
And I gotta say to you also, I see why they let you have the podium, I must say.
It's so funny. Like, literally, the thing that my friends hate about me the most is that I talk and I won't shut the hell up. Is the thing that's making me successful in the NFT space.
Honestly, I feel like that's been correlated to my success as well. I can't lie.
It's incredible. That's when you find a really good job. Is like when you can do something that you can't do around your real life friends and your girlfriend, and you do well with that. So I can get that out of my system here by talking to you guys. And the GR people listen to me all the time. They hear this voice constantly. I mean, I've done probably 60 AMAs since I've been like doing this. So there's actually like a crazy amount of AMAs. Last week I did 6, and I got halfway through, and then we rescheduled all the other ones, and I did 6 just like hitting Wednesday. It's awesome. Good stuff. All right, let's continue on. I keep on. I'm the worst at this sidetracking stuff, but yeah, let's go to the bridge. I got it up on the OBS, so anyone that's watching this later can see the bridge and all that good stuff. I'm going through and putting these images up for the YouTube video as well. Just want to let you guys know that. So yeah, let's continue on. I'm loving it, baby. Keep it rolling.
Yeah, I think that we should just totally adopt the we are all in this together. I think we should just start creating like the little GIFs and stickers for Discord.
Yeah,
for that.
absolutely.
Cool. So the bridge, ultimately, when we were thinking about the avatars, like, come on, how many projects out there say metaverse ready? Right, a lot. And how many times do you actually feel like you understand what that means? I'd imagine not a lot. And even if we were here and I was here just telling you, we're going to, they're going to be in virtual worlds. How many of us are actively in virtual worlds right now? Not a lot. So it's just a bit of bullshit, to be honest. And not bullshit in the long term and medium term. We obviously think it's going to go there, because if we didn't, we wouldn't build 3D avatars. But we would just be lying to you if we said, yeah, that's all the utility that you're going to get right now. Isn't that exciting? Nobody's using it. So we wanted to challenge ourselves, which was, how is it that we can make it as easy as possible right now in this moment for people to use those avatars? So for the last 5 to 6 months, time has just, all ideas of time have disappeared for me by now. But we've been building an app, which at first is a proprietary app for our holders, where it will connect to their wallet. They'll be able to import their unique, bad influence identity. And basically, embody it. Using motion tracking technology, they'll be able to record videos. They'll be able to post those videos on socials. We're building a voice modulation well, in case you hate the sound of your own voice, that extra level of anonymity.
Is there anyone that
and
doesn't hate the sound of their voice? I swear I can't stand my voice.
I despise the sound of my voice. I cringe at the sound of my
That's why we
voice.
just have to build it
Everyone
in.
else seems to like it. I don't understand.
I like play my YouTube videos back and right when you're like, oh god, oh my goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that was the number one insights that we're like, if people are going to use this, we need to get rid of their voice. So basically, you built
Hilarious.
that modulation option. But the sorry, where was I? Yeah, so that's going to be available within 4 to 6 weeks from the moment you get the PFP. So it's been, I think that Al just posted a video. As I said, it's been in development for quite a while. We're really happy with it and excited about the long-term potential of it. And when it comes to, the back to your point, in terms of like moving the space forward, our vision is to open up this app for other projects as well, right? So if you've got fully rigged avatars and you want to utilize the underlying technology that we've put in place, is something that you can, let's have a conversation about this, because I think that it's the idea of pushing forwards this thought of what does identity mean, and we're already using these as our own digital identity. So how can you take that one step further and allow people to create content? And of course, this matters as well in the context that we are giving, full IP rights of the individual characters to the holders as well, which gives you even more freedom to use the app and do things with it. So that is something that we're really excited about, because it's, in terms of delivering that utility, we're confident because we've built it, right? And we are making that available so that people can sink their teeth into it. Now, there's also a lot of exciting narrative opportunities, because we think that, a way to get people really engaged in this and passionate about this is by giving them a strong narrative bedrock. So as part of our team, we've got a guy called Alex Arakis. He was the lead writer of the latest Assassin's Creed, and he's been working with us with developing the lore, which we will reveal relatively soon, that will take Bad Influence into the future. And that's all I'll say about that for now. And that's it. I mean, that's what we call the mint map. Then, of course, there's a lot of other stuff that, as a community, a brand. And there's 4 different areas there. So one of them we call Bad Influence Labs. So that's about developing the technology that will allow people to embody their avatar. So the app falls into that. Another one is Bad Influence Studios, which is about creating that creative kind of IP, the story worlds, that wild originality and entertainment, gaming. Then we've got Bad Influence Spaces, which is, the real world events and eventually the spaces within the metaverse for our community to get together. And finally, Bad Influence Lifestyle, which goes back to what we were talking about earlier, every asset being uniquely created. Are there ways of allowing people to express themselves more with some of those, with apparel and assets within the collection? So that's it. I'm going to shut up for now, because I literally keep on talking for another hour or so.
Love it. Sounds like someone I know. But yeah, if you guys want to keep going around and telling them some more stuff, I've been asking stuff and kind of playing off of it a little bit more. And like I said, as I try to do a little bit more of a free flowing and organic AMA style, where it's kind of just we chat, we discuss in between. You tell us about the project, we get some questions in and all that good stuff. So if there's anything else you guys want, you guys can just keep on talking about all the cool features and all that stuff. We're talking about the an alpha version of the app or something. If you guys want to elaborate on anything right now, it's feel free to, because I mean I think everyone's really enjoying it. We actually have a really good turnout, over 40 people, considering this this market that we're in right now. This is good stuff. A lot of really good people here. People are vibing, enjoying it, chatting inside the VC chat, and it's all good. So yeah, feel free. Or any questions, or anybody who wants to raise their hand and come up on stage and ask a question, feel like that's totally cool too. Oh yeah, Solex, I guess, got brought down from the.
Hey, sorry about that. I clicked on a wrong button for a second there. Yeah, I mean, look, well, first of all, obviously, if there's any questions, just jump on in.
Trying
But
to bring Crypto Bobby up here so you could ask a question. But yeah, continue. Just go ahead, do your thing.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Hey, Crypto Bobby, how you doing, brother?
Oh man, I am doing fantastic. And I got to
Love hearing
say,
that.
just blown away by what you guys are doing. I only go into doxed situations and seeing the background of who's in this. Real deal. My son's in the shoe industry. I won't drop names where he is, but just the fact of, the brands Nike, Adidas, whatever, the background of the art and what you're doing and the background of the people here really says a lot to me. I do not put my money into a project unless I see people doxed out. Too many rug pulls, too many problems. And what you're doing with the avatar, even what I heard about the changing of the voice, just it's beautiful. It's a great different project. I just found out about it yesterday, and I'm psyched. Within a day, I'm an insider, and I'd put a lot of money into another project. I got whitelisted in January and was going to continue to buy more NFTs there. Well, I'm moving this way. I love what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask any win stuff. When I see a beautiful project, it comes about when it's there. Just excited to be a part of it. Great vibe. I didn't get the whole thing about grinding or not and how you get in, but the fact that you don't have to.
I'll answer that. So everything is misdirection. The actual way is you're just a genuine person who's enthusiastic. And the only criteria are whether you connect in a human way. But, people expect to grind, and that's kind of like how you screen the people who don't actually care. That's always been my approach.
Right. Well, I spent a month and a half of my life mid-January on about 12 hours a day in the last project. And I got one NFT and I bought 7 more, got into it. I mean, I understand the concept of getting you connected, getting you in the Discord. And the same thing there. They were all about positive vibe in the community, not just sitting there typing in hype and vibes and all that, but actually being genuine, asking questions, helping newcomers understand it. And yesterday it was kind of like that, but I was trying to find out the whole deal about getting in, and just by being myself and kidding around with people, turned around as like, insider, what the heck? How did I do that?
Because everyone on my staff, this is just like, welcome to my madness. My madness is this labyrinth. It's just, everyone on the staff is instructed to keep an eye out and give a very human touch to who we bring into our community. Like, obviously we're in the business of the best, genuine, most excited people being in our community. Why would we try to prevent that from happening? Right. So we're just like, the design is actually just finding, actual supporters, right? Like, what, it's hard to make that into a science. So I just take it as, try to keep it human, as many opinions involved as possible, and make it a group effort.
Well, I saw a YouTube channel where they were talking about, hey, this is one of the ones to keep an eye on, and I was really just looking to diversify into other NFTs. I just learned about Discord, Etherscan, MetaMask, blah blah blah. I'd been trading cryptos since 2017, and boy, there were some learnings there pretty quick. But anyhow, so you're the second phase in my journey, and I don't think I could be any happier about that. So don't want to dominate here. Just wanted to jump on and say happy as can be, and just look forward. Keep doing what you're doing. It looks beautiful.
Thank you. We really appreciate that.
All right. Good one, bye.
Awesome. Thanks for coming up here. Honestly, it's like, you don't always have to come up here to ask a question. You can always come up and just like share some things like that, because that's like really good information, from someone. Because the majority, and I'd say like probably 80 to 90% of the NFT space is made up of guys just like you, where you have a regular day job, you come and you spend time in the Discord and all that kind of stuff. And that's like the important thing, is that there's some projects that are tell you, hey, we're not all about this grinding, come in and be yourself. But the problem with those guys are they're those mods and founders are not accessible. And so that's why
Mm,
people have to actually grind, even when they say they don't have to grind, versus a project where they actually have people sitting there watching chat and they're actually spending time in chat. It's like a completely different story here. And it sounds like this is kind of more of the bad influence way of Discord life. And I have to say that I really appreciate that.
yeah, and I think it's something that was there from. I remember one of the first conversations that Owl and I had, and we were talking about the Discord, and he was very adamant about, like, you can set up all of these like rewards for engagement and like measuring levels of engagement, but in a way it kind of starts poisoning the server, because people become obsessed with figuring out, like, what's the little hack, right? Just so that I can get a little bit more engagement, to get a little bit more rewards, and well, it just starts the whole grinding process. So I think that it was something from the very beginning, like, how can we try to make this as organic as possible? And I think that Al has done a fantastic job of doing that, and of assembling a team of leads that are absolutely extraordinary as well within the server. And I think some of them are here today with us. And I like without them, there wouldn't be this heartbeat of the community, and it really means everything.
I'm glad they can't see how hard I'm blushing. Thanks, man.
Well, it's working.
Well, hell yeah. If anyone else, you guys see any more questions in the chat? I'm not trying to. I try to keep it around, around like an hour-ish, but it doesn't really matter. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been known to talk for 7 hours in VC here, so I can go as long. But I see someone else has their hand raised. I'm gonna bring them up there, and like I said, in between all this stuff, if you guys want to, feel free to think about wanting to add something or any points that you may have missed or whatnot, and feel free to just go ahead and say it. Crypto Bobby,
Yeah.
thanks again. I'm going to send you back down to the audience. Appreciate you, man. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
No, thank you. You guys made my day yesterday, and look forward to the rest of the journey. Bye.
Love
Yeah.
hearing
Thanks
that.
a lot.
All right, Chencho, you
Up,
up here?
y'all?
You're unmuted. Go for it. How you doing today? You doing all right?
I'm doing good. I'm on these streets, man. I'm just driving, listening to the AMAs.
Love it.
So first and foremost, sorry, I'm just gonna put this in park. First and foremost, I appreciate that you guys always do these, and there's a lot of information that comes out of them. And I always learn something new about the team. Shout out to Solix. I used to work at Lego as well around the time that advertising strategy came out for Ninjago.
All right.
So I saw firsthand what a proper strategy can do for a company to bring it back out of the gutter. And it doesn't matter how strong you have of a brand identity, there's always challenges, and you have to kind of recapture the community.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And there's
The
it's
point I
such a
want to
great.
make. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, like, it's. I mean, David knows I just keep going on about them. I think that it's such an extraordinary company, and they had so much there available to them. And I'm personally really happy that it ended up going in that direction, and that there's so much more creativity going into it outside of just the franchises that they're a part of.
Exactly. And then the franchises open the door for them to be able to take chances on their own product, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So the question that I did have, based off of the heart and the body, and then additional pieces that come with the avatars, the speculation for other brands like Ivy Boys and things like that with the trunks that I think also NanoPath has like the boxes that they drop that have other NFTs in them. Would Bad Influence be doing something similar but more within its own someone looking for ecosystem, where there would be temporary NFT drops that are other pieces of clothing that are interchangeable, that again have their own value within the community themselves for customizing constantly and evolving your avatar as you see fit.
Yeah, I mean, I can. It's
Short
it's
answer, yes.
Yeah, it's
Short answer, yes.
Short answer, yes. And then
Yeah.
there's as long of an answer as you want, which is how do you build, the metaverse out, right? What's the best way to incorporate the technology as you flesh out, wardrobes for these identities and like different features of their lives, right? The answer is yes, and it's been designed to do that. But what are the specifics? That's a journey we all go on together.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's something. One, it's something that we've heard from our community quite a lot. That there's quite a lot of interest in that kind of stuff. As Al said, absolutely yes. It's something that we're actively pursuing and exploring. The ways of doing it. We also want it to be a bit of a conversation with our own community, because ultimately, again, it's that interplay, right, between building and creating stuff and constantly trying to surprise everybody that's a part of it, but at the same time everybody that's in this is just as part of the brand as well. So that is thinking about lifestyle and apparel to even spaces. Like, in the end of the day, we've got points of view on the virtual worlds that we think have a lot of potential moving forward. But it's something that we also want to consult with our community, because ultimately what we're building and what we're doing is for that community, right? So it doesn't make sense for us just to make decisions in the dark without bringing all of you in as well.
I also think it's I think there's a lot of projects that probably start talking about I guess future drops and kind of like the way that I guess like the NFT ecosystem is going to grow before they've even found success with their first their first NFT. And so there's definitely a lot of ideas, and there's definitely a clear roadmap of how we see the world of bad influence evolving and growing. But I also think you can get ahead of yourselves and start kind of like talking about these sort of like spin-off or dilutive ideas before you've kind of like built the brand. And so, I think we do talk about that stuff all the time and have got a lot of stuff down. But I also think it's kind of you can really get ahead of yourself if you're not careful. I guess like the one thing I would say is that at the end of the day, we are story people, and it's the thing that excited us about the whole space, the potential to kind of create a company and a project and a story world at the same time. And so I think as well as kind of thinking about like, I guess, products and the way that the avatars can kind of exchange clothes and stuff like that, I think all of that stuff is cool, and it's definitely something we're thinking about. But I think the thing that we're most excited about is the sense that this is going to be a narrative adventure. And I would say that the way that our kind of like future drops, future NFTs would fit into our ecosystem would be story led. And so I think we haven't really pushed that hard on that right now. But I'd say after Mint, that is something that's going to become much more front and center.
On your answer, so thank you.
Well, thank you. I know we need to close down soon. Do you mind if I just tell a very?
No, we don't need to close down soon. I just try. I'm open, but I just try to like, it's like one of those things when like the mental, the way like the human brain works. It's like, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 1.5 hours, so like 1 hour just feels like a really good like amount of time where people are gonna actually digest all the information. But like, feel free to keep going. Like, I mean, if there's good stuff to talk about,
Christian, it seems like they like us. Christian, it seems like they like us. Let's not. Let's not rip it off.
Christian's child just probably walked in the room, and then he's like, "Well, okay, I'm on a."
Let me get an out.
On a timer.
No, absolutely not. I just want to make sure that
Yeah, just go for it. Drop any other stuff we do. I mean, it would be nice to like wrap up just because, like I said, on the sake of keeping it at like a normal time. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah.
Talk as much as you
Let's
got to
find.
tell.
I
I
was
think
just going to say
the
that.
brand map is something I think you could go into a little bit more. Like also just the entertainment stuff, as much as you're willing to tease. I feel like just everything else was so interesting, we just didn't get to it.
Yeah. So we've got like there's all of the stuff which is in the short and medium term that we've spoken about, but there's also a lot of really exciting stuff in the long term. And obviously, it's something that we don't talk about as much, and there's a number of reasons for that. But there's a lot of in real life projects on the studio side that have been in the work for a very long time. There's a lot of amazing talent that we've started putting together there. Again, some of them we can't talk about just yet, but we're talking about, when we talk about talent, be it actors or producers. So one of the producers, for example, is a guy called Gordon Gray, who was the producer of The Mayor of Easttown. I don't know if you guys caught that on HBO, but it was one of the most critically acclaimed shows last year. So when we talk about wild originality and building that platform and trying to figure out a way for our community to be a part of that, there's a lot in the works there as well, which we haven't spoken that much about. And again, there's a lot of reasons why. But the little thing that I wanted to tell you is, and I mentioned this a couple of times before, but the reason David and Brian said that we worked in like building some entertainment IPs and stuff. So we built an epic science fiction, worked with amazing people, including a guy who's one of like the rising stars in the Marvel universe when it comes to like comic books and graphic novels, and he was the lead artist for Shang-Chi, and we built out this world, and it was absolutely amazing. And one day we get a call from one of the streamers, and they said, we'd like to meet. We heard about what you're building, and we're interested potentially of turning it into a television show. And obviously we were incredibly excited about that prospect. We had spent 5 to 6 years building this, right? We go have a meeting with them. It went really, really well. And after the meeting, we're told, so what you can expect from this is they will give you around $20,000, and you shouldn't expect to be part of the creation or anything related to it at all. Like maybe they will let you into the writer's room, but maybe not.
But you really have to behave yourself really well.
and you should be very happy about this, by the way. And I mean,
This is a great stepping stone.
it really pissed us off. It really pissed us off, right? Because the way that again, these middlemen and these centralized structures, right? The way that they observe and they treat creators, and it's not just creators, it's fans as well. Like we think about the Star Wars universe. The Star Wars universe wouldn't exist without the fans and the extended universe and all of that creative input. And right now, the only ability that you have to interact with that in any way, shape, or form is by them selling you more shit. Nothing else, right? It's just about extraction of value. So for us, and when we look at the long term and in terms of shaking shit up, one of the things that we really want to do with this brand is start rethinking about the role of creative projects, and what's the role that creators have and that the fans have, and that they're building these things together, and that they're all getting the value from it, which they rightfully deserve, because they are the heart and soul of all of it, right? Which is the antithesis of what's happening right now in this world. And that's why we believe so strongly that creativity and originality is dying in the Web 2 structure. So for us, that's the giant opportunity that Web.
In some ways, it can't fail, because if you look at the what Brian calls like the rake. So if you look at the big tech platforms, the big entertainment studios, the rake, i.e., the money that they keep from engagements from the community, is like if it's Instagram or Facebook, that it's 100%. Like YouTube is a bit better. You can make money as a creator. Like platforms like Netflix, they wanna own all of the content on their platform, and don't really want any control or ownership from the people who came up with the ideas and kind of enslaved and for years and years unpaid to bring them into reality. And so I think that's our kind of big vision for Web3 is to really go after the entertainment establishment, and just on it's common sense that it's going to be more equitable for the fans and for the creators, and for that reason, I've just got supreme confidence that it's going to win.
Yeah, and I can also tell you, and it's again not something that we've been speaking about, but we've been having conversations with other potential like venture partners, and it's amazing the interest and the appetite that there is in terms of like shaking this shit up, right? And seeing, are there ways of really disrupting these big creative industries and flipping the script on that a little bit. So it makes us incredibly excited. We hope to have some big announcements in the next week or so, and obviously you guys and Zero Cool U and this community here, which is amazing, will be some of the first to hear about them as we develop that.
Very cool. That's what I'm talking about. That's definitely what we need in this space, and I love hearing it. So I appreciate you guys so much for coming out and having just like a really healthy discussion while teaching everybody out there about the bad influence. And like I said, I don't want to cut you guys off, but if you guys have anything else that you want to say, feel free to do so. If not, then we can wrap this up, and yeah, we can
I
all.
got a couple of things which
Yeah,
are really like
absolutely. Go
closing. I
ahead.
think we should wrap it up just because it feels right,
Yeah.
honestly. But it feels about right. But a couple of things I just wanted to close with is Solex is always so modest. We're planning on announcing something big in the near future, and it's gonna melt people's faces. And yes, we'll be keeping y'all in the fucking loop of that. And then yeah, man, I just wanted to thank you. Like, this is honestly, I'm not even kidding, by far and away the best AMA I've participated in. And we've done 30 of these, right? It's really incredible what you bring in terms of like making it an actual conversation, not like the same 4 questions that get asked, looking for a soundbite answer from the project team. Like this has felt productive. This has felt amazing. I'm really glad we've been here. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It's definitely something that I feel like is like it's a bit of like an art form that like I didn't realize until I started doing them. Like, 'cause I did one of them, and then all of a sudden I did another, and then all of a sudden now here we are, and I've done like over 50 of these AMAs. But I just like feel like this whole reading off of like these questions on a Google Doc, like it just sounds like so like it's like not like organic at all. And I really just like loved it to feel like more just like natural, and like we're having a good time, we're enjoying ourselves, we're not fucking robots up here, we're actually human beings like talking about it, and you guys actually are in tune to the space versus like people coming in and just like not really knowing what's going on outside of their project. And so I definitely have to applaud you guys, and like I said, the conversations we've had in the past have been really great, and I don't think that we're going to be done talking and conversing about like a lot of stuff. We'll be I mean, just being fish heads, we're definitely gonna align on those views. And yeah, like I really appreciate you saying that, man. It's definitely like makes me really happy and makes me want to push and do more and more things out there, and just kind of like educate people. And that's like what the biggest thing about the AMAs is, why I love them so much, is because it's rooted in this education. And you guys have been gracious enough to give the Jira family a very large amount of whitelist spots. And I want to make sure that people out here are educated and understand about the project, not just about the project, but about who is behind the project, because that's arguably as important as what you guys are actually doing, is who you guys are, where you guys came from, and where your passion and where your like values align. And I feel like we've gotten a really good feel for who you guys are, and because we live in this Web3 world of avatars and PFPs and people's name, just like these usernames and stuff like that, and it's you really gotta like kind of dig a little bit and try to get the real human beings out to talk, because I mean that's who you guys are talking to right now. This is Zero Cool. This is who I am in real life. Like this is it. I can't be any other way, and it turns out it works really well for the AMAs, and that's why I do them. So hell yeah, man, I fucking love this. I had a really great time today. It's nice when you guys make it feel like it's fun instead of just like work, and so I appreciate that. And like I said, you guys are feel free to come to the server anytime. If anyone from the Jira family wants to go into their server and spread some good energy, that's what we're all about. Go represent,
Oh yeah.
so go
Roll
represent
up.
the good word and all that good stuff.
And I'm about to be very generous to any Jiras I see on the server. Let me post y'all a link. And also, like, last thing, Zero Cool, straight up, like, it is no exaggeration to say you, just the way you carried this AMA led to me just buying this Gen 2 break during this.
Hell yeah,
I'm gonna be at the
I
next
actually saw
one.
it change over from the mutant ape. I was like, yo, let's go, baby. We
So,
appreciate you,
man,
the
amazing. I
support and
can't wait to, I
everything.
can't, really, like, it's always refreshing to meet with serious teams that are actually building towards the future. Thanks for having us.
And that's what it's all about. Here we are, just literally making the space better by having projects that align and are on the same wavelength and actually want to have, we want to be around in this. Whether you do this for a full-time job or if this is part of your hobby, both of those things are insanely important. If this is your hobby, you're spending your free time outside of your work to come and hang out here. If this is your job, then this is your job. And if the NFT space goes away, guess what? Like all these like really cool connections and things, just these discussions, I put a lot of value behind these things. ETH value is one thing, but having like actually connecting with people all across the world and having things in common and being able to just like vibe with each other, for a lack of a better term, that's part of the one of those things that is a free aspect of the NFT space, and I do not want that to go anywhere because I absolutely love networking. I love chatting with people, and as you guys can tell, this is what I love doing. So I want to keep doing this forever and ever, with all you guys. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
So like I can't, say it one more time, like from everybody in the Jira family, all the way from the team down to all the people that are just, just Jira fam and are not a holder. We just thank you guys so much for coming out, spending time out of your busy schedule to come and educate us and just to make the space better just by having really great discussions. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you. We're all in this together.
We are all in this
Oh,
together,
yeah.
baby.
I'm gonna use that. We're all
Mantra.
gonna use
There we
that.
go. I'm
Hell
gonna
yeah.
get shirts made. It just says Zero Cool on with my Jira on there on the back. It just says we're all in
I
this
feel like get
together.
them in the collection.
Hell yeah, guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing the future of Bad Influence and which you guys are the impact you guys are gonna make on this space. So hell yeah, let's go, boys.
Oh yeah. Thanks for
Thank
having
you
us.
very
Again.
much.
Thank
Have a good
you.
one.